The von Schlieffen plan was to flank Paris through Belgium, because they didn't expect that. Also, because the border of France at Alsace-Lorraine was heavily fortified, so the Germans would lose too much men there. But it didn't go as planned, because the German soldiers were slowed down because supplies weren't going as quick as the army went. The Russians also mobilized faster than the generals of Germany expected. Therefore, they had to send men from the West Front to the East Front. So, also the plan changed to, instead of flanking Paris, to go to the River Main. Therefore, the French sent all their men they could find to the front to stop the Germans from taking France. After all, the von Schlieffen plan was a failure.
The First World War wasn't a war like it was in the past. The fighting countries soon reached a stalemate. This was why this was a different war. It was a trench war. At the front there were a lot of trenches on both sides. When one side decided to go over the top, the other country could easily kill them with their machine guns. It was very hard to reach the other trench as an attacking country because of the barbed wire and the machine guns. It was difficult to reach the enemy trench because the weapons were better suited for defense instead of attack. When you reached the trench, it was very difficult to hold it. This made it a very difficult war to win, and it also caused a lot of death. At the end, Russia retreated, so Germany had more soldiers to deploy on the Western Front. German commander Ludendorff launched a great gamble to win the war. It started with a typical bombardment and gas attacks. However, instead of the usual wave of infantry, he followed up with attacks by smaller bands of especially trained and lightly equipped storm troops. This broke the stalemate, but the Germans lost too many soldiers, so the Allies had more benefit of it.
The area between two enemy trenches is called no man's land. This is a place where you'd rather not be in a war. The First World War didn't only come with a new way of warfare, trench wars, it also came with new weapons. A weapon that was used first in Ypres was gas. First they used big gas tanks, and when the wind direction was right, they opened the tanks, and the gas went to the enemy lines. At first, Germany didn't realize how effective it was, so they didn't advance. The gas was so effective because it was quick and it burned your lungs and throat. The defense for gas wasn't there at the beginning, and at the end of the war it was poor. The first way to counter gas was to urinate a piece of handkerchief and put it on your mouth. And later they made gas masks with use of active coal.
Tynecott Cemetery is the cemetery where all the Allied soldiers are buried. Langemark Cemetery is the cemetery where all the German soldiers are buried. As you can see, the Tynecott Cemetery is a lot bigger and more beautiful. After the war, the Allies didn't want the Germans to have nice graves, with crosses with names on it, so they made the cemetery very simple. Every soldier that wasn't identified or found was put on the walls of the Manning Gate. There are 54,896 names written on the walls of the Manning Gate. The Manning Gate soon became too small for all the names, so all the British soldiers that died after the 16th of August 1917 weren't put on the Manning Gate, but on the Tynecott Memorial. Frank soldier Joseph Artner is one of the names written on the Manning Gate. This is the story of our soldiers.